Hello there. In the continuing effort to correct my mistake from an earlier video, this is on New Caprica, the salvation of the colonial refugees from the destruction of the 12 colonies, or at least superficially that's what some of them believe this world to be. Before we get started talking about this cold, desolate world, please like, share and subscribe. Comment down below on your thoughts on New Caprica and whether or not it was really the right decision to land on this world. I think we all know what the actual right decision would have been. New Caprica as a world was discovered by mistake inside of a nebula which shielded it from Drados, which was one major advantage of the world, by Lieutenant Margaret Racetrack Edmondson. She discovered the world completely by mistake when she jumped to the wrong coordinates, but reported its existence back. Surveys indicated that the planet had only about 20% surface habitability and had an extremely unforgiving climate. It was extremely bloody cold on this world. Now, superficially though, it was habitable. It had a breathable atmosphere, there was life, there was liquid water, and aside from the extreme temperatures and not being particularly a welcoming place to live, it did have some natural resources and had the basic ingredients needed for life. I mean, it was no real different than trying to eke out a living in, say, I don't know, Canada or Russia or one of those places that's very cold. Hello to anyone from Russia or Canada, you have my sympathies for how cold it is there. These worlds that these people had come from were not as, however, inhospitable as this. These 39,000 just over refugees were not exactly equipped to live in Antarctic conditions and eke out a living. The actual settlements, which became known as New Cap City, or New Caprica City, were mostly ramshackle, grounded ships and tents. There was a lot of disorder, a lot of unhappy people. There were major shortages of food, medical supplies, and basic other living essentials like toilet paper were not readily available to the majority of the population routinely. Poor leadership from Gaius Baltar, who was president at the time, was also compounding this problem. They were on the planet for about a year and a half. The decision to move there came because the people were quite frankly sick of living on their ships. They wanted more permanent settlement, and the fact that New Caprica, despite its poor living conditions, was isolated from detection by the Cylons actually was very appealing. And if it wasn't for the destruction of the Cloud 9 ship in orbit by a nuclear device, the Cylons may have gone a very long time without detecting this planet. Unfortunately, the radiological signature of the nuclear device became detectable to the Cylons, and they were able to locate the planet less than a year after the colonists had settled the world, resulting in a Cylon occupation as the military forces were unprepared for an engagement, and the civilians were not in an orderly manner either to actually resist the Cylons, resulting in a huge Cylon force landing on the planet and an occupation force of Centurions being set up to suppress the population. The Battlestars Pegasus and Galactica jumping out of orbit in order to escape, along with as many civilian ships as they could, leaving Baltar and the other civilians down on the surface to wonder if they were even going to be coming back, or whether or not they were just going to continue on. Though no meaningful colony was ever really established, there was potential that perhaps if, the human race wasn't on its knees at this point, this world, New Caprica, could have been colony for humanity. It could have been somewhere they could have exploited for resources and just for colonization purposes, but considering they were trying to run away from a very anti-human, deadly enemy who basically rendered their civilization nearly extinct, perhaps settlement now wasn't the best idea. But it was actually a political decision because they were trying to uphold the Articles of Colonization, which basically meant regular free elections. It became an arguing point. President Rosalind was against settling there for reasons that she felt it was vulnerable. If they were detected by the Cylons, they'd be all in one location, just like the colonies. If they weren't detected, the planet was freezing cold, barely habitable, although there was food, there was water, there was the basic ingredients for life. The harsh temperatures and extreme environment, with only the equator regions of the planet which covered about 20% of the world, actually being habitable, with the rest being just simply too cold to realistically live there, meant that this was not exactly a prime location for a human civilization to thrive, especially under the current situation. But The people, sick of running, Baltar played his cards against her and said, "Nah, it'll be great, it'll be fine, we can't be detected, trust me." And they did. It was a mistake, a lot of people died, and the colony failed utterly. But that was New Caprica, and that's finally me correcting my mistake about earlier episodes where I compared this to the algae planet and stupidly said that they were the same world. But there we have it. If you like this episode, please like, share and subscribe, and bye bye.